Hey photographers! We've just returned from a trip to Japan, Thailand, and Cambodia with the Fujifilm X-T3. Now, in this video, I'll share some of our photos and show you some of the tips and hacks that Kim and I found useful. Now, in order to keep things simple and light, we packed the XF 18 to 55mm lens. But let's start with a quick run through the menu to configure the X-T3. This is firmware 1.02, and I've reset to the defaults. I've installed the free Fujifilm remote app on my phone. And in Setup, Connection Settings, Bluetooth with Auto Image Transfer on, and Smartphone Sync to Location and Time. That resets the time zone automatically and transfers the images to my phone to post on Instagram. For image quality, I'm using the largest 3x2 aspect. For quality, I save RAW as well as fine JPEG, and I'm using lossless compressed. The X-T3 supports UHSII cards in both slots. I'm using 64GB SanDisk Extreme Pro cards rated at 300 megabytes per second. That's plenty even for the X-T3's 400 megabit video data rate. At those settings, the X-T3 can save over 1,300 images or 40 minutes of 200 megabit video per card. And I always back up my images and reformat my cards before a trip. For stills, I have the focus switch on S and use AF mode all. That enables me to press the joystick and use the front dial to select the size. Now by default, touch is not on. Enable it on Setup, Button Dial Settings, Screen 3. I also customize the touch area to right side. Then I can select the focus point using the screen while shooting with the viewfinder. But mostly I prefer using the joystick. Face detection is also on by default. I set it to face on Eye Auto. Now by default, the X-T3 doesn't chimp, and I like to confirm the shot. On screen setup, I set 1.5 seconds. In order to review in the viewfinder, make sure the view mode is set to Eye Sensor. In Display Custom Setting, I turn on the electronic level and the histogram. I reconfigure panorama with angle L and direction top to bottom. And then I shoot in portrait mode, sweeping left to right. I find that provides me the largest image. In button dial setting, I change the ISO dial from auto to command. This allows the front dial to select the entire ISO range. I set Auto ISO 3 to a maximum 6400 with a minimum shutter of 1/60, 2 to 6400 with 1/125. I'm very happy with 6400 when it's required. It has a minimal amount of noise and delivers accurate colors. One of my favorite X-T3 features is the meter collar under the shutter speed dial. Unfortunately, it's not active when using face detect, but otherwise I set the exposure by selecting the meter mode. I generally leave the ISO and shutter dials locked to A, and use the Auto 2 configuration, which means my shutter speed stays at 1/125 and above. Then, with the lens's aperture on manual, I set the aperture. Mostly, I shoot at f4. When I need control, I usually adjust the ISO, although exposure compensation is also an option. As I said in my review, face detection is very reliable and catches Kim's eye even when she's not directly facing the camera. When you turn the camera off, it will remind you to transfer the photos. With an iPhone, you have to switch to the camera's Wi-Fi network to start the transfer. You also get a reminder on your phone. The bright sunlight at the Angkor Wat Temple complex in Siem Reap was specifically challenging, particularly for the standard JPEG settings. I tried several of the dynamic range options and found that D-range priority provided a better representation, although not always with accurate colors. Once home, Lightroom was able to manage the extended range in the RAW files to provide the results I wanted. With ISOs under 1600, there was enough latitude to make several stops of adjustments to highlights and shadows. There's no right or wrong with the film simulations. Choose the one that pleases you. I do like to capture street scenes with Acros. For video, I've posted an entire video dedicated to video settings. You'll find the link here and below in the description. The X-T3's battery life is slightly better than average for a mirrorless camera. We brought 3, never used more than 2 in a day, usually switching sometime mid-afternoon. Hope this video was useful. I do enjoy interacting with you, so post your relevant questions and civil comments below. When you're traveling, shoot until your memory card is full and your battery is empty, and if this video helps, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Thanks.